Tonight I want to speak to you guys about a pretty relative issue in our day. The title of this speech is Porn is a Drug. It's a pretty heavy topic, but we're going to dive right into it. The charge that I want to challenge you guys with is that we must now more than ever guard our hearts from lust and lustful thinking. And one of the main reasons for that is, I'll kind of get into it here in just a minute, but it controls your brain. It actually controls your what you understand beauty to be, and it actually just distorts everything that God created for good. So, according to Family Safe Media, pornography is a $57 billion worldwide industry, including $12 billion in the United States alone spent on pornography. I did a little bit of research, and I found that the average female makes $150,000 to $200,000 a year if they are continually in the pornography industry. So the money is decent for them for basically distorting themselves and distorting beauty. One of the problems with pornography that I understand that kills us is that we are so easily exposed to it. We can grab it on our phone, our iPad, and even accidentally fall upon it. And there was a statistic that said that we children, the average age of kids accidentally falling onto porn is 11 years old. And so, man, I just can't imagine. So we need as leaders in our household and as leaders as Christ, we need to do a better job of that. One of the problems that we run into is that 50%, and even higher statistics I've heard, up to 60% of evangelical pastors admitted to viewing pornography last year. And the statistics are always changing. But another statistic from a book that I'm reading said that 500 Christian, they surveyed 500 Christian men, and out of that 500 men, 90% of them admitted that they were feeling disconnected from God because of lust, porn, or sexual fantasies that had gained a foothold in their lives. So that's 90. That's like 9 people out of 10 Christian people are facing this issue. There's 3 points that I want to quickly get to here tonight, and the first of that is that when we are drawn to using pornography, there's actual scientific proof that it becomes like a drug to your body. There are effects in your brain that have been measured, and I'll share that with you here now. Pornography mimics sexual intimacy and fakes the body into releasing a tidal wave of indigenous chemicals, which is exactly what pharmaceutical and illicit street drugs do. So basically, this doctor did a study on a guy that had been involved in pornography for 20 years. And in talking about that guy, this is what he said. This is what Castleman had said about him. He's literally a different person after these 20 years inside. He's showing the same kind of structural change in a PET scan that reveals it's the same kind of structural change in his brain that people that are abusive with regular drugs have in their brain. So it's the same patterns and the same wave measures that they see in a PET scan is the same of that as drug users, people that actually use either pharmaceutical or illicit street drugs. The second point is when we are drawn to using pornography, we destroy the actual definition of beauty. And I know growing up for the first time, it changes how we even look at women, period. Men or women for that matter. Women are not taken out of this equation. They also struggle, but on a different level. But it creates a false perception of what a perfect woman should be in our minds, and it actually changes the way that we think about women. You see, there are millions of dollars spent on the magazines and the advertisements that we see, and even in movies that take out flaws of women and men and that allow them to be more beautiful than they actually are. And so if you see someone on Hollywood, they look completely different in person than they do on a magazine or on a page. They look completely different because we can do in Photoshop. We can take weight away, we can take blemishes away, we can do everything. And so basically it's not fair to our spouse when we are involved in lustful thinking. The third point and final point that I want to bring up is that when we are drawn to using pornography, it's nothing less than sin. And I err on the side of grace when it comes to this topic, just because it's thrown so much at us and it's so easily accessible that it controls us. And but that doesn't take away from the fact that it's sin. When asked about, do I believe if being gay is something that you're born with or anything like that, I can say that I believe that it doesn't matter. Because we are all born into sin. Whether you're addicted to alcohol, pornography, liking the same sex, it really doesn't matter. And it's kind of the same concept here, is that when we are addicted to pornography, it's actually sin. In Matthew chapter 5, verse 28, it says, "But I tell you, anyone who looks at a woman lustfully has already committed adultery with her in his heart." So this verse actually speaks of not even pornography or internet or anything. It's just if you look at another woman lustfully, you're committing adultery. So that, and what I understand about sin is that when we get a little bit of it, it starts to sneak in smaller portions, and then it eventually controls us. But the thing about it is that ultimately it is sin. It is a sin. It is a sin for us to look lustfully at another person. Sexual sin is a little different than other sin because it's something that takes place in our own body. In 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 18, it says, "Flee from sexual immorality. All other sins that a man commits are outside his body, but who sins sexually sins against his own body." And so that's just, it's just a little bit, sin is sin, but it's a different sin because it actually affects your own body. And I just want to challenge you as a listener and as a man and as a man of Christ that I understand that perfection this side of eternity is close to impossible, but we have to do a better job. We must now, more than ever, guard our hearts from lust and lustful thinking.